Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. So we had the introduction, we finished the introduction for Madarej Assalekeen, the book of the steps of the followers of the ancestors who tried to go to closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And today we'll start the first stage, the first manzila, which is the vigilance, the awakening. And Ibn ElQayeem said, defining the منزلة اليقظة, he said, هي انزعاج القلب لروعة الانتباه من رقدة الغافلين. It is the upset of the heart. And as I said, it is this road, those steps, those stages are for the heart. They're not for the body. So they're not the worship of the body. Actually, those are states of the heart, advanced of the heart towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said the upset of the heart, or the alert of the heart to the wonders of attention from being heedless. So that means the heart will start to realize that there's a heedlessness and will start to feel the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Ibn ElQayeem said, هي أول منازل العبودية وهي انزعاج القلب لروعة الانتباه من ركضة الغافلين. So it is the first stage. فمن أحس بالفزع في قلبه, whoever started to feel this feeling in his heart, that means the heart still alive. Because if the heart is dead, there is nothing that can affect it. And it's, as mentioned in the Quran, that there are different types of hearts, that the qalb ghafil, there's qalb lahi, there's qalb mayyit. So the qalb mayyit is the dead heart. So if it started to have this feeling is the yaqadhah, that means it's still alive. And Ibn ElQayeem, when he says the hayah, the life of the heart, it is, he said that it is the yaqadhah that will take him to اقتباس الحياة الدائمة الباقية from this life. So it is that you start to build in your hereafter, which is the eternity life from this finite life, the life that will end. And example for that you might have like small match or something that's about to end, but you can use it to let a candle that stay for more time. So you can let the eternity from the life that will end. And it is the yaqadhah, he said it is the awakeness that will have the life of your heart with your beloved, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when Sheikh Yaqub was trying to explain this, he said there are things that you can't describe. For example, if I told you I really like the smell of the perfume that's called Hugo Boss, so you tell me I've never tried it, how can I describe this to you? That smells good, but how can I describe this smell of the perfume to you? We can't describe. You have to try it to see or to feel it. He said this is the same thing. I cannot describe any of those stages. I cannot describe to you what's yaqadhah, what's the feeling, what's the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the thing that Ibn ElQayeem will do with us, inshallah, is that he will give us the guidance on how to reach this stage. But he tried to describe this by saying the al-Yaqadhah, the awakening, is that you feel that you live with the only love, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And every time you come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you feel this is the most happiness that you have. And the time that you feel that you're away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have this tough feeling. This is the real calamity. And this is reminding me of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when the Jibreel has been delayed for a while. He had this feeling when it was described in the book of Sirah. It was a tough feeling on him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the first verse, the first surah that He revealed, when He say, وَالضُّحَى, and He said, مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't leave you. And He gave him the glad tidings of the next life. يقول ابن القيم اعلم أن العبد قبل وصول الداعي إليه في نوم الغفلة. That everyone is in heedlessness. نوم الغفلة is asleep, the sleep of the heedlessness. That's before you reach this, you get this light or this alert. قلبه نائم وطرفه يقظان. That his heart is actually asleep, but his body, the physical body, is awake. So that doesn't mean that he's asleep or you can't feel that this is person. You see him in front of you and you see, yeah, this is a heedless person. No, actually, طرفه يقظان. That means his eyes is wide open. He walks, he lives in this life. He's very alive physically, but his heart is heedless, is asleep. ولكن قلبه نائم. That means that it doesn't feel the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His heart is attached to this life until he gets the alert from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the da'i from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I said before that this alert might come like an accident that you might see. You might see some friend that he died and you say, oh my God, I might die. I might meet Allah tomorrow. And this gets the awakeness of your heart, the consciousness. It might be calamity that you ask Allah, you make dua, and Allah accepts your dua, and you feel this love and the qurb of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which awakes you. Sometimes it comes from doing a sin. As I said, the heedless, that the shaitan of the heedless will try not to get him into a sin so that they don't repent from it. Because you might feel the regret and you repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so you get the awakeness of your heart. And he said that everyone will do. We are sinners. We are all sinners. But the most important thing is not to be a slave of the sin, to make a trench around you that you can't get out of it. But you know that those sins are obstacles in your road to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you try to get rid of them. And Ibn al-Jawzi was talking about what are the reasons that someone might get the hidayah, the guidance or the awakeness in the heart. And he said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that will choose this person. So most of us will see the last flash, like you might be attending one of the lectures, hearing a khutbah, and it affects you. And you start getting closer to Allah. You might think, actually, oh, this khutbah actually was good. Actually, no. Because 50,000 years, because Allah created us, He wrote in the book that you will be one day in this country, in this place. He gave you this car. He made the manufacturer of the car to make the car, and you get the road, and you learn the driving, and you get to this moment that lots of other things that affected this moment, so that you will hear one word, and Allah put the guidance in your heart. So it's not the words of the time or whatever, but it is something that Allah prepared long time ago for you. And the best of the people that will get the best use of this guidance. And then Ibn ElQayeem, he divided the people after they get awake from the heedlessness into 5 categories. So there's someone who would just wake up just during the khutbah, during the event that happens, few moments, few seconds, few hours, and then he will get back again to his desires. فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَغْلِبُهُ هَوَاهُ. That's someone that will get again into the heedlessness again of this life. And he gave an example of like when you woke up. Sometimes some people, when they wake up in the morning, they open their eyes hardly and they feel that they started to be awake, but they go again to sleep. But there's some people that actually they go up, they sit, they try to get up, but again they go back to sleep. Some people, they do more efforts. They might get up, they go to the restroom, but they can't, and they go back again to sleep. But there are people that they get up and they start their life. So those are the different types. Some people, they get really affected and they get awake. They do lots of good deeds and they feel that, oh, we got closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But because of the sense that they got used to do, because of the love of this life, the attachment to this life, they go back again to heedlessness or whatever they've been doing. But there are people that they've been able to fight their desires, fight the shaitan, and they've been always getting closer to Allah. And he said there are people, the moment they get awake, they've never went back to sleep again. And the moment they started the road to Allah, they didn't go back. So every time they get into a new stage, they repent to Allah from the previous stage. They get closer, they get better, and they repent from the time. It's not the sins. They repent from the time that they were less in the closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the way that even they don't need to do strive for good and avoid the haram. And he said this can be because of two things. Either the thing that they're trying to do is actually, it's a bad thing. Right? For example, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he never prostrate for the, never do sujood for sanam, idol. Because it's something that's bad. He never did zina before, even before Islam. Because he felt this is something bad and he is high over this. So he might look at those things. Those are things that I should never do. This is something, it's lower than my characters. Or because of the highness of his goal. He has a high goal. He has the Jannah or the Ridwan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And because this is something very high, he's always working towards this, and it is giving him the motivation to stay on the right path. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. استغفروه سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب